would like to thank Mr. Anuga Olukbenga-Paul for joining us as a public affairs analyst and sharing that insight throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. Dudzile Zuma-Sambudla, former South African President Jacob Zuma's daughter, has pleaded not guilty to charges of inciting violence during riots in 2021, in which more than 300 people were killed. Prosecutors alleged Zuma-Sambudla incited others to commit acts of violence through posts on social media. The unrest broke out after her father was arrested for disobeying a court order to testify at a corruption inquiry, but it morphed into widespread looting. The financial damage from the riot was estimated at 50 billion rand. Zuma continues to command a loyal following in South Africa. Now for this discussion, we welcome retired Major General Sudhakarji. He's a senior geopolitical and strategic defense expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Major General Sudhakarji, for joining us again. Good to see you. Now looking at the story from Africa, how does Dudzile Zuma-Sambudla's trial reflect the broader challenge of holding political figures or daughters and children accountable for incitement, also looking at how she used social media influence in this particular case?
Asoma, good afternoon. Thank you for getting me for your show. It's a very important turn of event which has taken place, which signifies the transformation of the global order in the global south countries, particularly. When I say that, what I mean to suggest is that the social media platform, earlier we had heard about the Arab Spring in Tunisia and surrounding countries. Slowly it has assumed the profile of the Gen Z in number of South Asian countries. And when you look back to 2021, this particular riot, the daughter of previous president may have denied being guilty, but the fact remains the finger is pointing towards her involvement and her incitement. So it is up to the investigation process which has gone in and the objectivity, narrowing down to pinpoint responsibility by a board of executives or directors or the people who have been nominated by the constitutional authorities. I personally feel that that has to be upheld in the rules-based international order. Otherwise, countries like South Africa, it is a member of BRICS. There are other countries also in BRICS who are joining, and gradually these practices will also spread all over. There is a thing called as moral obligation to accept. You know, every leader has got a moral obligation and the technical and the legal obligation to defend oneself. Perhaps in my understanding, Soma, I feel that Zuma, the daughter of the previous president, is exercising the second option in order to defend herself, mindful of the fact justice in any matter may take little time, but definitely the truth is going to knock on the door, and people who are responsible, including her, will be made accountable. This is my limited understanding of the case. Back to you, Asuma.
Yes, and building on that, how should South Africa balance the freedom of expression with the need to prevent such incidents? Also, going back to social media driven violence and disinformation during periods of political unrest, knowing that, as you mentioned, it is a country in BRICS and it holds some kind of moral accountability.
Excellent question, Asuma. I must compliment you for putting your finger on the right issue. And you see, the best way to balance any such kind of critical issues is to be truthful, accept the truth. And she may get punished for whatever, because the political authorities, they have a special protection, dispensation that may get overlooked by the court of law. But the fact of the matter is, that winning the hearts and minds of the people for whom you are actually fighting or contesting or projecting their problem. Now, if the compromises are made simply to protect a person by stating a lie, it will tantamount to making manipulation of existing rules-based order in that country. And it will set a wrong precedent for future generations to keep referring and keep following. So it may circumvent this court proceeding once, but I am sure in the existing constitution and the court of law in South Africa, there are provisions. They will get around the truth, take out the truth from the people concerned, and hold he or she, whoever is responsible for inciting the riots in 2021 leading to death of more than 300 people. Now, as far as balancing out is concerned, it's a tightrope walk which the government has to do, because each one has got its interest, because there are ruling dispensation, the political dynamics in South Africa has gone through a journey of tumult and turbulence. In the past, it has lacked stability. And if this particular order is not withheld, the judiciary will be held in contempt in the minds of the people. Judiciary will be questionable, so therefore judiciary has to uphold the practices of decision making regardless of the consequences, and defend the truth and the righteousness, so that the right decision is given for the best rules-based order in the country. Otherwise, the country is heading for some kind of a chaotic situation in times ahead. Back to you, Asoma.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Major General Sudhakarji for always joining us and sharing your insight with us. Now we move on. We have a breaking news. According to a police spokesperson, an explosion has been reported outside a court building in Pakistan's capital, Islamabad. The spokesperson has confirmed that at least 8 people were injured in the explosion. No further information on the blast is available as of now. Now we move on back to Africa. Guinea's Supreme Court has released a provisional list of candidates for next month's presidential election, including the junta leader, General Mamadi Doumbouya, who has ruled the country since seizing power in 2021 coup. Doumbouya overthrew former President Alpha Condé after he controversially secured a 3rd term and has now received voter approval to run in December. Several prominent figures have been barred from contesting the vote. Former Prime Minister Lansana Kouyaté and ex-government minister Ousmane Kaba were disqualified on technical grounds, with Kouyaté promising to appeal. Opposition leader Faya Milimono and former minister Abdoulaye Yero Balde remain eligible. According to reports, the credibility of the election faces scrutiny as the military dissolved many political parties last year and suspended the main opposition groups. Now we move on to Nigeria. Nigeria's anti-graft agency has said that a warrant has been issued for the arrest of former petroleum minister Timipri Silva over allegations of conspiracy and dishonest conversation of $14.86 million. According to a statement by Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the funds were part of an investment by the Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board into Atlantic International Refinery and Petrochemical L Limited for a refinery project. Silva has served as a petroleum minister from 2019 to 2023 under former President Muhammadu Buhari. A federal high court in Lagos has issued the arrest warrant for Silva on November 6th, granting the EFCC authority to detain him for questioning. Now we move on to Kenya. Kenya has said that U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance has called off a visit to Kenya planned later this month after his trip to the G20 summit in South Africa that was cancelled by President Donald Trump. Vance has planned to visit Kenya, one of Washington's closest allies in Africa, after attending the G20 summit in South Africa from November 22 to 23rd. However, Trump has said that no U.S. officials would attend the G20 summit, citing alleged human rights abuses against white Afrikaner minority in South Africa, which claims are rejected by the South Africa. Meanwhile, the Kenya's foreign ministry has said that as a result of Trump's decision, Kenya has been informed that Vance's visit to Kenya has also been cancelled. And that's a wrap.